This is a sequence especially for the hips, so helping to release tension in the hips to create opening and also build some strength and support as well. So the positions we're working with are around pigeon and positions that help to open out the glutes and the outer hips in particular. So an area that is really tight for a lot of us. And when you have a lot of outer hip tension, it can create tension in the hamstrings, tightness around the sciatic, like the SI joint, which can create sciatica, and a lot of lower back pain as well. So let's start lying down. Or you might want a block or a folded blanket for the end of this practice as well. So just get those ready. Coming down onto your back. And as you settle, just take a few moments just to feel in this constructive rest position. So we just let the hips settle, let your knees drop together, and take a few breaths with your hands on your lower belly, just feeling the breath. Letting yourself arrive into your practice. So slowing down the breath. Notice what you're noticing. Notice where your attention is going. See if you can be more focused in your body right now. So for the next few breaths, can you really give yourself your attention, give yourself to these few minutes of practice today, here in your body. And then on the next exhale, draw the right knee in to the chest and straighten the left leg out. So this is a lying down lunge. And just settle in there so you're sinking down. Take a few breaths where you squeeze the knee into the chest. And just feel that squeezing, feeling that bit of pressure against the hip and the belly and a stretch around the hamstrings and the glutes across the lower back. This is so good. Just lying down and drawing one knee into the chest is so good if you've had a long journey or a lot of traveling, or you've just been working like in the garden or something and your lower back is really achy. Just lying down and doing this is a brilliant restorative for the back. So one more there, exhaling. And then hold the back of the knee and slightly open the back of the leg. So you're trying to keep your thigh on your belly, opening the back of the knee and squeeze in there, stretching out the left leg. And then bring your right hand up to hold the foot, so holding the toes or the outside edge. Keep the left hand on the leg and give your leg a rub as you hold your foot and pull your foot in. So this is a deep lunge lying down, so a supine lunge. And you can really feel this big stretch around the back of the right leg. And then extend the left leg longer, so a big stretch through the hamstrings. One more breath here. And then you're going to bend the bottom leg, bend the left knee, and place the outside of the right foot on the front of the left knee. So you're making a figure 4 shape in the legs. And then just give the right knee a little push. And you'll feel the sensations now start to move around the outer hip there. So this figure 4 shape is like a lying down pigeon. So take a breath there. And then pick up the left foot, lift the head, and see if you can grab the thigh or even the shin there, see what's available. And then lower your head and chest down and then draw in this, what's called threading the needle. So I've put my right hand between my legs to get hold of the left leg more easily. And as you draw the left leg in, you send the right knee away and feel this big opening, which for a lot of people can be really challenging. It's a big area of tension, the outer hip, the hip flexors. So exhaling, just give yourself time. Let the shoulders drop down. See if you can try and breathe into the area where you're feeling the tightness. So breathe in there. Try and relax the hip a bit more. And then also try breathing into the chest around the collarbones, so you create lots of space around the chest and the heart and the collarbones, leaving the space there to breathe. And then release the leg, and you're going to lower over to the left side. So you can put your foot back down, or you can just lower your legs in that same figure 4 position over to the left. So it's like the whole position falls over. And go slowly and lower your foot. So you want the right foot to be standing on the ground. And then just adjust your upper body to settle back onto the ground. Then hold on to the right ankle. The right leg should be standing up like a little sail in the air there. Hold on to the ankle and then see if you can just sink the whole right side of the body a bit lower. So dropping the right side of the body down. Sink the bottom knee down. Take a few breaths trying to sink down into this deep outer hip stretch. And you should feel quite a lot of sensation, information, feelings in the outer hip, and that's okay. Just breathe into it. See if you can really go to the sensation with your breath, feeling the breath helping to untangle some of that resistance and tightness. Another breath there. Relax the shoulders, open up the upper back. And then slowly kind of hinge up again, so you're lifting your legs back up. And as they come up, cross the right leg over the left leg so your thighs are touching. Separate your feet and then lift your head. See if you can hold, first of all, your shins. If you can get your shins, see if you can grab the feet. So you're reaching for the edges of the feet. And then pull the feet as you lower your head and shoulders down. And this will really tell you about your outer hips. Big, tight area. And it's okay. Just breathe into it. So this is really tough for everyone, feeling this. There are a few humans out there that don't have sensation here, but they are few and far between. So everyone feels this, just breathing into it. Feeling that work in the hips, trying relaxing on the exhale, relax the shoulders. Another couple of breaths. And then let go of your feet. Bring the feet up into the air. Cross at the ankles, and then just push the legs into each other, just to release that last position. Just stretch up through the legs, bend the knees, slide the feet down the mat, reach your arms up and have a big stretch there, and just feel the energy in the legs, the awareness. Maybe give them a wobble. Deep breath. And then bend your knees, place your feet back on the ground. We'll start back here now with the left leg drawn in. So draw your left knee into your chest, stretch out the right leg. And on the exhale, squeeze the knee in. So a big squeeze in there. And just drop the right leg down a little heavier. Exhale, squeezing in. Relax the shoulders. Another couple of breaths here. And then take the hands around the back of the knee. Open the leg a little bit. You don't have to straighten it completely, but just open the foot up into the air and pull the thigh in. So you start to get more awareness of the hamstrings, the back of the leg there. So this is going into a lying down lunge or half happy baby. You reach your hand up to your foot, catch the toe or the foot, and then pull the foot in a little bit more, pulling the thigh into the body a bit more, and give the back of the leg a rub. So just lots of awareness, attention into the leg there, maybe even the calf. Squeeze in. And then from here, just as you release, bend the other knee, so the right knee bends, and release that left ankle onto the front of the right knee, making that figure 4 shape. Push the knee away for a moment, see how that feels in the hips. And then lift the right foot up and bring your hands around the back of the right leg there, drawing in. And then bring your hands, maybe needing to lift the head if you want to, try and interlace around the shin and lower the head down. Only hold the shin if you can keep your head comfortably on the ground and the shoulders down. If you hold your shin and your chin is sticking up and you're feeling very tight in the neck, then it's better to hold the thigh. So just take a few breaths there, feeling what's there, sending that knee away, relaxing the shoulders. Breathing into your pelvis, breathing into the legs. That's it. And then we're going to take this shape over to the right. So let go of the right leg and just lower, tip yourself over to the right. So you're just going to lower your body over until, like you're falling, until the foot lands and stands on the ground. The knee is still pointing up. Grab your ankle with your right hand, reset your upper body onto the ground, and then just for a few breaths, see if you can work that leg away from you, sinking the hips down, drop the bottom leg, And see what you can feel around the hips here in this interesting outer hip stretch. It's really good at kind of getting into some of these hidden areas of tension. Deep breath in this twist, and just settle as much as you can the shoulders, the collarbones, the throat, breathing around the heart, keeping lots of space in the belly for the breath. And then slowly start to hinge back up. And then cross the left leg over the right leg. And see if you can lift your head and bring your hands either to the shins, pull the shins apart, or if possible, grab your feet and see if you can lower back down, keeping hold of your feet, which is pretty tricky, and you might topple over. So grab wherever you can, pull the feet or shins apart, and then sink the shoulders down and feel this deep stretch in the outer hips. Take a few breaths, exhaling. Just notice what's there. See if you can be compassionate, patient, and accepting of your body and yourself, not rushing anything, not fixing anything, and just feeling what's here, just noticing, acknowledging it, keeping your sense of humor. And then release your feet. And cross at the ankles up in the air and push the ankles into each other. So pushing the legs and then release. Set the legs down, reach the arms up. Give your legs a little shake there. That's it. And then slowly from here you're going to come back up and over onto all fours. So just rolling over. Make sure your legs still work. And come on to all fours and just take a few cat and cows and childs and dogs here just to kind of come back and see how your legs and hips feel here. So you should feel quite a lot of loosening up happening already and warmth. Taking downward dog. Just a few stretches there in the legs, pedaling them out. Try a plank pose as well, so bring the legs close together, reach forward, stay in plank, maybe a little bounce, keep the chest up a little bit so you're lifting in the belly, don't collapse down. And then come into child's pose, knees together, close together, and just sink back, pressing your hips back onto your heels. Maybe the head stays lifted or lowers down, and just take a stretch there. And then coming up. So coming into a lunge here, step the right foot outside the right hand. And just remember you were here earlier on in half happy baby. So bring your right hand to your foot and push the foot down with your right hand as you push your right knee into your right arm into a resistant stretch. So we're just bringing some strength into the hips and the legs in this position here. Exhale, just a few breaths, squeezing there. And then take a twist, bring the right hand to the knee and just turning a twist on the exhale. Inhale back to center. Take a half split so you're coming back. And in your half splits, lift the toes, stick your bum out, draw your chest forward, folding in. And getting into the outer hips here, bring your hands over to the right side of the right leg. And then fold over to that side. And you'll feel this go much more into the hamstrings and the outer hip here. So just folding in, see how that feels. And then coming up. And back to downward facing dog. So exhaling, going back. Take a little vinyasa here. So rock forward into plank pose. Come back into child's pose. Knees together and push your hips back onto your heels. Inhale, come up. Lower to the ground. Exhale, coming up through cobra. Inhale. And back up onto all fours. Stepping the left foot outside the left hand. Hold the foot and push it into the ground. As you hold it, push your knee and arm into each other and just take a few breaths, trying to keep this resistance of pushing the foot and arm and leg pushing each other. So you've got this good stability, which is basically now like a half happy baby, but in this position, chest open, deep breath. And then taking a twist, bring your hand up onto your knee, just turning, feeling your back there, exhale. And then half splits, so coming back, lifting the toes, sticking your bum out, folding over the legs there. Deep breath. Exhale. And then to take it a little bit more into the outer leg and outer hip where we tend to all be a bit tighter, bring your hands across your leg and fold in there. Keep the heel digging into the ground, toes up, folding a bit deeper. Exhale. And then inhale. Come forward, back to downward facing dog. Exhale and just walk into the legs, see how they're feeling here. Inhale, plank, strong legs. Take a whole breath in plank pose. And then on the inhale, lower the knees, pull back to child, or push back rather, so you're really trying to set your bum onto your heels. Inhale up, lower to the ground, exhale, coming up through cobra, inhale, and downward facing dog again, exhale. So coming into pigeon here, slide the right knee up to the right hand, and slide the left leg back. See how that's feeling in the hips and in the knees. You need to be careful of the knee in pigeon because you're bringing more weight onto it. So if it feels too strong, you can always lower the right hip down, or you can bring the right knee into the middle of the mat a bit more, and that takes some of the weight off it. So just come down onto your forearms and just take a few breaths here, giving this outer hip a chance to really stretch. Closing your eyes. And a really good place to focus on being when you're in these deep, challenging stretches in the body is to remember that when you get to the edge of the position, so you get to the place where you feel like you can't go any further, that's the beginning of the pose. It's not the end. It's not a wall. It's not a stop sign. That's actually a doorway. It's the beginning of where the asana actually starts. It's where the interesting stuff happens. So feel into the beginning of this position. Feel where you are here. And notice what it's like to be at the beginning of something rather than the end. How your attitude changes. How you feel towards it. And then lower the right hip down and swing the left leg around in front of the right knee and bring it across your right knee if you can. So we're in half Lord of the Fishes, a twist. And just settle in here. What I want you to try and do is get this left hip to come down again. So you might need to sit on a blanket here. Try and pull that left hip down and draw the left knee in. And this is another way of really accessing and opening these outer hips in another figure 4 shape here. So draw the knee in as you sink the left hip down. Bring your arm around your knee. And then take the left hand back behind you and just take a few breaths, lifting the chest up tall, dropping the hips down, and then counter twist in the head. See if you can be really nice and tall in the spine. Find your breath. On the inhale, breathing up through the center line of the body. Exhale, drop your hips, relax the shoulders. Inhale. And exhale, trying to find yourself at the beginning of this position. Find yourself here at the beginning of your practice. And then slowly release the leg back and come back into through pigeon and then into downward dog again from here. So swing that right leg back. And just walking out, stretching the legs, especially the right leg after that pigeon pose. So really extend a deep stretch into that right leg, bending the left knee. Another little vinyasa, come forward into plank, inhale. Go back to child and push the bum against the heels. Inhale, come up. Roll or push down through half chaturanga, coming up through cobra or even up dog. Inhale. And downward facing dog, exhale. Left knee pigeon. Slide the left leg forward and then reach the right leg back. Coming down onto your forearms. I like practicing pigeon just on my forearms. It's nice to go all the way down, but for me it just gives me a little bit more kind of lightness and awareness in my focus here. So coming all the way down or just resting on your forearms. You can support the head with the hands as well. And just feel what's happening. Where are you feeling this? What's the information going on in your body like? How do you feel towards it? And this sensation, this place that you are now is the beginning. This is where it all begins. It's like a relationship, that the relationship really begins when things get challenging, when we hit an edge, when we meet resistance. That's where the relationship really begins. If it's always easy and comfortable and there's no edge, there's actually no relationship. So your relationship with yourself begins where you meet this edge, you meet this sort of sticky, difficult or challenging place. And that's where you start to get to know yourself. So take a deep breath here. And then lower the left hip down. Bring the right leg around and bring it around in front of the left knee, and then work on dropping that right hip. So it's really sinking the right hip down, feeling where that tightness is around the leg, the hip, the thigh, wrapping your elbow around your knee. What I didn't say on the other side actually is you can always straighten the bottom leg if it feels too tight and you can't get that hip down. So with a straight or bent bottom leg, just squeezing there and turn a little deeper, squeeze a bit more. And then turn your head all the way the other way, so turning your head. And then just take a few moments here in this lovely twist to get taller on the inhale. And then let your shoulders and hips drop down on the exhale. So feel this center line like a light lift is being drawn up through the center of the body on the inhale. And then all your muscles soften and relax down around this center pole on the exhale. 2 more breaths like that. And then from here, slowly release. Bring this right leg around behind you. You go back through pigeon, just briefly. And then coming up into dog. So pushing back, walking out the legs. Walking forward into plank pose. Inhale. Push back. Put the bum on the heels again. Squeeze back. Inhale. I'm just going to roll down this time. Exhale. Coming through a gentle cobra. Inhale. And back into child's pose. Exhale. Take a breath here. And then slowly coming up. So we're going to finish with Gomukhasana, the full Gomukhasana, which is a really challenging position, and it's a really good place to practice this notion of being at the beginning of ourselves, of this edge. So you're going to keep your block handy. I'm going to turn to face you so you can see, and bring the left leg behind the right leg. So I've crossed my right leg over my left leg essentially. Separate the feet and then put your block behind you and sit on it, which you don't have to have the block, but for most of us that gives us a little bit more chance to get into this position. And try and sit down so your feet are outside your hips here and you're sitting down onto the block, or move the block and sit onto the ground there. And just see what's happening in your hips here. See if you can get taller in the spine. Wiggle the bum a little bit lower. And then raise the arms up on the inhale, reaching up tall. And then I'm going to bring my hands around behind me. So I'm going to just leave the right arm up in the air, bring the left hand around behind me, and try and wriggle my hand up between my fingertips. Actually, what you can do is actually bring the right hand and use the right hand to wiggle the left hand up between the shoulder blades a bit more. So I'll turn around so you can see what's happening from behind here. So my left hand is trying to go up between my shoulder blades. The right hand is helping it to get a little bit higher. And this is this big opening in the shoulder happening. And then the right hand comes back up into the sky again. Bend at the elbow and see if you can find the hand behind you, grabbing the fingers. And if you can't, don't worry, just reach and try and touch the shoulder blades with the opposite hand. So the right hand would touch left shoulder blade, left hand touch right shoulder blade, and pressing against the body there, or down here. So wherever you're up to, don't worry, you don't have to grab the fingers. So staying here, and this is a deep stretch. So what you've got here is this opening in the hips, in the outer hips, and then opening in the front and out of the outside of the shoulder, which is a really difficult area for all of us. So it's a challenging place to be. So we'll just stay here for a few breaths. See if you can lift up through that top elbow, sit the bum a bit lower, take a few breaths, and then lower your rib cage down a little. This is Gomukhasana, cow face pose. And the reason it's called cow face is that it's not that our body looks like a cow, it's that we're meant to have the face of a cow, which is very tranquil and relaxed and calm. And cows in India and in Indian mythology are very sacred, they still are. So they're considered as being very relaxed and in a state of perpetual spiritual enlightenment. So just see if you can touch on this state of calm and quiet in your face. And breathe into the potential of this moment being a beginning. This is the beginning of something, the beginning of opening, the beginning of meeting yourself as you truly are. Deep breath. Trying to relax. Remember what Shavasana feels like. Stay for a couple more breaths. And then slowly releasing your arms. Releasing, and give the shoulders a little kind of wiggle here. And then we'll come off the legs, so leaning forward and just unfolding the legs. Take a few cat and cow positions here, so just moving the hips. See how that feels. Maybe some hip circles. And we'll come to the other side. So that's the great thing, is we always get two sides to all of this. You'll be delighted. So bring the left leg in front of the right leg, or the right leg behind the left leg. So your left leg is on top now. And then sit back, and as you sit back, grab your block, put it between your feet, so you're sitting back on it. And see if you can settle in here, so the feet are either side of the hips, sinking down, feeling this tight stretch around the legs and the hips. And then inhale, raise the arms up, get nice and tall here. And then you're going to bring your right hand down behind you and bend the elbow and wiggle the fingers up between the shoulder blades. You can take the left hand down and grab the right elbow and sort of wriggle it in a bit, and see if you can help maneuver that hand up and up and up between the shoulder blades as much as you can there. And then once the hand is as far in as it will go, bring the left arm up, deep breath in, and then bend the left elbow and see if you can find your fingers between your shoulder blades there, which they might be there, they might not. If not, you can just reach for the opposite shoulder blades with the hands, and that's a good stretch there. And then take a deep breath. See if you can get the spine nice and tall again. Draw those ribs down. And feel all the strong sensations, these feelings in your body coming up to meet you. And as you feel them, you're meeting yourself. You're meeting yourself as you are. All these edges, all these feelings that we try and avoid. We try and stay comfortable, stay within our comfort zone. And this brings us to the edge of our comfort zone. So we get to meet ourselves. And you greet yourself with patience, with humor, with interest, and with this feeling that you're at the beginning of something. Here you are at the beginning. Can you breathe? Can you be patient, compassionate? Another couple of breaths. Relaxed face like a cow. And then slowly release your hands. And you'll feel that in the shoulders as you just sort of wave them around, undo them. And then letting the legs free up as well. So coming forward, pushing forward onto the hands, release the legs, and then come back into cat-cow. And you might need a downward dog there, little hip circles, so feeling into your shoulders and hips. And you should really feel there's a lot of space there now, lots of movement, flexibility, and flow in your energy. So walking out the legs. And then coming down to the knees, bring them forward, and just spend the last few minutes lying down to let all of those deep practices really settle in your nervous system. So important now, if you're sort of on the clock and you're trying to do lots today, just really give yourself these few moments, really important, just a minute or two to rest. Let the legs go, let the arms go. And feel your body resting into the support of the ground. Let all that tension that you've just felt, remember what that tension has just been feeling like, and just on the exhale, let the tension drop away. Let it all drop down, empty into the earth. Each exhale, another chance to really empty that tension, that heaviness, that hardness, drain it into the ground. Give your feet a little circle. Draw your knees in. Give your hips a little circle there as well. You can stay here for longer, of course, if you've got a bit more time. Just resting is lovely. Maybe rest your legs up against the wall if you have a few minutes. That's really nice after doing lots of hip work, is legs up the wall. Otherwise, come on back up to sitting. Bring your hands to your heart, acknowledging yourself, acknowledging the commitment, the time, the energy you're putting into this practice, meeting yourself, which is no mean feat. It's not an easy thing, meeting our edges, meeting who we really are. So with gratitude to yourself, and patience and compassion and lots of love. Namaste.